My name is Lauren. I'm 36, and I'm a mom. That alone is enough to be exhausted. Every minute, every day, forever. My daughter's name is Emma. She's 10. She's bright, funny, sensitive. And yes, she looks a lot like her father. But you know what? I don't see him in her anymore. I've let that go. I've forgiven. I no longer live in anger or blame. Emma is not his copy. She's her own person. Beautiful, whole, and uniquely hers. When he left, people threw their words like stones. Told me I must have done something wrong. You drove him away. Good women don't get left behind. Must be your fault. Back then, I didn't respond. Not because they were right, but because I didn't have the strength. He walked out, and I stayed, with a baby in my arms. No money, no sleep, a body that hadn't healed, and a heart that didn't know how to beat alone. But I made it. I didn't go back to an office job. I started writing children's stories. Not because it was noble, but because I couldn't afford a nanny. No one was going to help me. My parents said, "You made your bed. You're an adult. Figure it out." So I did. Every morning is the same. Wake up, breakfast, packing lunch, reheated coffee from yesterday, and a smile, always a smile. Because Emma doesn't need to see my tired. She needs to see I'm here. Once she leaves for school, my marathon begins. Emails, orders, shipping books, updating my tiny online shop, all of it in sweatpants, with a messy bun, and a sink full of dishes waiting. Once, I dreamed of being a woman who inspired people. Now, I dream of 2 days of silence, and a hot shower with no one knocking on the door. I don't date. I don't flirt. I don't want to be a project for someone. Or a convenience. Men sometimes look at me like I'm a tired fruit on sale. Women look like I might steal their husbands. I'm not interested in either. I don't want pity. I want peace. Emma sometimes asks, "Why don't I see Daddy like other kids see theirs?" And I tell her, we just have a different story. She doesn't know her father shows up once in a while, with his new wife, and their new baby, and nothing in his eyes but polite distance. He refuses to pay support. Says I'm strong enough. Says I'll figure it out. And maybe I will, because I've made it this far. But that doesn't mean I'm okay. I'm just living, one day at a time, running this race alone, with a child on my back, while strangers throw tomatoes. But she's worth it. Every mile, every bruise. Because when she smiles, I remember, I'm not running towards something. I'm carrying everything that matters. Sometimes, I feel invisible. I walk into a store, buy milk, apples, cheap bread, hand over the last of my cash, and the cashier doesn't even look me in the eye. I send out emails to publishers, follow-ups on news stories. No one replies. I post about my books online, the ones I stay up all night writing, and maybe 2 likes, 1 share, 0 orders. I exist, but not really. People only notice me when they want something. My family calls when they have to, not to check in, but to remind me I'm not helping enough, to ask why I'm not more successful, why I can't get it together. No one ever asks how I'm actually doing. Not really. Sometimes I sit in the dark, not because it's peaceful, but because I don't want to waste electricity. Emma's asleep. The house is still, and I stare out the window with a cold cup of tea in my hand, wondering, if I disappeared, would anyone even notice? I'm not depressed. I'm just tired. Being alone isn't just about not having a partner. It's about having no one to share the weight of life with. If I get sick, she still needs school hugs. If I run out of money, the bills don't pause. The world doesn't pause. Everything falls on me. I write children's stories. That's how I survive. Not make a living. Survive. I run a tiny online shop. I handle everything. The writing, the printing, the shipping, the social media, the late-night editing, the customer messages. Some days I earn enough to buy groceries. Some days I don't. But I keep going, because I've come too far from the version of me who used to apologize just for existing. I don't owe anyone comfort anymore. I owe myself freedom. A few months ago, he messaged me, my ex, after 2 years of silence. He wrote, "I want to come back, but only if you admit you were wrong." I laughed, not bitterly, just tired. I remembered what it felt like in that house, where I couldn't lie on the couch, couldn't relax, couldn't even breathe when he walked through the door. I'd pretend to sleep, just so he wouldn't start talking, wouldn't start blaming. I wasn't living. I was surviving, in silence. I didn't go back, not because I'm proud, but because I refused to disappear again. Emma's happy now. She doesn't know what it costs me to keep the light on inside our home. She doesn't see the panic behind the grocery list. She hugs me in the morning and says, "You're the strongest mom in the world." And I smile. I stroke her hair, and I think, I'm strong. But God, just once, can I be soft? Women look at me, cautiously, not openly, just that quiet glance, that subtle scan that says, "She's alone, keep your husband close." They're afraid I might want what they have, afraid I'm hungry for something that's already taken. Once, at a birthday party, another mom leaned in and whispered, "You're so pretty, you should be careful. People might get the wrong idea." I smiled, politely, but what I wanted to say was, "You're scared I'll steal your man." Honey, I'd kill for 5 minutes alone in a bathtub without someone yelling, "Mom." I'm not interested in taking anything. I'm just trying to survive. Men, even worse sometimes, when they find out I'm a single mom, it's like they smell blood in the water. They think I should be grateful for a smile, for a message, for a coffee they bought me once. One guy told me I was low maintenance because I already knew what it meant to struggle. I don't want to be your rescue project. I don't want to be your guilt-cleansing charity. I don't want to be easy because I'm tired. I want to be seen, not pitted. Sometimes, I wish I could wear a fake wedding ring just to shut the world up, to stop the glances, the assumptions, the constant explanations. Because to them, a woman without a man is either a warning or a waste. And my family? Not much better. They don't help. They judge. You picked him. Why don't you get a real job? You can't do this alone. But I already am. Not because I wanted to, because I had no choice. I don't want applause. I just want space. To live. To breathe. To raise my daughter without feeling like I'm broken. I'm not broken. I'm what happens when someone gets tired of waiting to be saved and saves herself. When Emma laughs, really laughs. That wild, messy, no-filter laugh. I know I'm doing something right. We may not have weekend visits with Dad, or expensive clothes, or doting grandparents, but we have each other. Me and her. Our own little world. Built from scraps. Held together with inside jokes. And love that doesn't need to be explained. Sometimes, late at night, when the house is still, and the fridge has finally stopped humming, I think, what if I hadn't had her? What if I'd walked away? Made a different choice? Said, I can't do this. Not alone. Not now. Would my life be easier? Would I be living by the ocean? Working in a studio with big windows? Waking up in clean sheets? Without toys underfoot and peanut butter on the walls? Would I be successful? Free? Rested? And then, just like that, my heart burns. Because even thinking it feels like betrayal. I look at Emma, the way she sits cross-legged on the floor in her pajamas, drawing fairy kingdoms I once made up in stories for her. The way she turns her sandwich into a burrito and says, "It's dinner but better." The way she asks, "Mom, would you ever get tired of being my mom?" And I say, never. Even if I'm tired, that's not the same. But the truth is, I do get tired. So tired it hums in my bones. So tired it makes me cry over burnt toast. So tired, I forget who I was before her. Being a mother is a 24/7 job. Without pay, without praise, without pause. And when you do everything right, no one notices. Because you're just doing your job. And when you break, they say, well, that's what you signed up for. I still think about it. Sometimes. Not because I don't love her, but because I'm human. Because no one prepared me for how lonely this would be. No one told me that loving someone so much would mean losing pieces of myself along the way. But I don't feel guilty for thinking it anymore. These thoughts, they don't mean I regret her. They mean I'm honest. And honesty is the only thing keeping me sane. She's not a mistake. She's not a burden. She's my reason. The rhythm to my day. The light in my gray. And even in my darkest moments, I would still choose her. Again. And again. And somewhere, beneath all the tired and all the fight, I've started to believe something quietly. That maybe one day, someone will come along. Not to rescue me. Not to fix me. But just to see me. Not the tired mom. Not the woman with baggage. Not a survivor. But me. The real me. Still standing. Still soft underneath the armor. Still here. And maybe he'll say, You're exactly what I was looking for. Every now and then. He shows up. Not often. Maybe once every few months. Sometimes longer. I get a message like, I'd like to see Emma. We're in town this weekend. That means his new wife. And their new baby. His new life. They show up. Like a perfect little ad. Smiling clean. Gift in hand. Standing in my doorway like strangers. They say, wow, she's gotten so big. She's so talented. We missed her. And then 20 minutes later, they're gone. Back to their shiny world. Afterward, Emma gets quiet. She sits in her room. Drawing. Not talking. Then suddenly she asks, did Daddy love us when we were still a family? And I say, yes, in his own way. He just didn't know how to be a dad. Even if everything inside me wants to scream. He doesn't help financially. At all. Says he has new responsibilities now. Says I'm strong enough to manage. And yeah, I'm strong. But that doesn't mean I'm okay. And it sure doesn't mean he's off the hook. I never talk badly about him to her. Not because he deserves that kindness. But because she does. She doesn't need to grow up hating him. She just needs to grow up loved. But sometimes I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, asking the same question over and over. When you ignore your child, who are you punishing? Me? Or her? Because I can take your silence, your indifference, your absence. I've built my life around it. But she's still learning, still forming her idea of what love looks like. And every time you don't call, every time you forget her birthday, every time you show up, and then disappear again, you teach her something I can't unteach. That love might mean being left behind. I can't force you to be a father. I can't make you care. I can't make you show up. But I can be here. Every single day. I can kiss her forehead when she's sick. Make her laugh when she's scared. Hold her hand when she asks why he didn't come this time. I can show her what presence looks like. Because I'm not here to compete with you. I'm here to raise her. Not perfectly, not effortlessly, but with my whole heart. And that is more than enough. Mornings in our house don't start with yoga, or lemon water, or peaceful music. They start with, Mom, I can't find my socks. I jump out of bed, trip over a charger, grab yesterday's hoodie, throw oats in a pot, and stir with one eye open. The kitchen's a mess. Crayons on the table. A half-eaten banana somewhere under a chair, and one of Emma's sneakers in the fridge for some reason. This is not Pinterest, but it's ours. I've stopped chasing the perfect image. My life isn't curated. It's lived. It's Emma coughing in the middle of the night, me checking her temperature with one hand, and replying to customer emails with the other. It's a fridge that groans louder than the neighbors. It's laughter in the living room with no matching furniture. It's bills that wait for no one. And hugs that don't care about any of that. It's messy, but full. Sometimes we sit together at the kitchen table. She does her homework. I write another fairy tale. And we don't talk. We're just there, together. Then she asks, "Did you used to be scared of the dark when you were little?" And I tell her the truth. Yeah. I still am sometimes. Not the dark outside. The kind inside, when I worry about the future. She nods. She gets it more than she should. I can't afford tutors. Or fancy clothes. Or beach vacations. But I can be there when she falls apart. I can braid her hair in the morning. I can listen to her tell the same dream 3 times in a row. And still act amazed. Sometimes I wonder if I'm enough. If I'm giving her what she needs. And then she hugs me in public. Sings in the car. Yells from the bathroom. "You're the best mom ever. Even if you suck at drawing cats." And I realize, we're good. Maybe we don't have everything. But we have us. And that's something real. We're like a tiny island. Not fancy, but held together with string and love. And the fact that we've made it this far means maybe, just maybe, we're already winning. Emma and I had a dream. Of a little shared wish. Of a dog. Of a tiny poodle. White, curly, ridiculous. She drew it in notebooks. Gave it names. Wished for it on every birthday. And I always said no. Not because I didn't want one. But because I was scared. Scared of one more responsibility. One more mouth. One more being that needed me. When I already felt like I had nothing left. Then one day, our neighbors were moving to Canada. They had a dog. A small white poodle. His name was Cooper. He limped slightly. Ever since a car hit him years ago. No one wanted him. Because he was damaged. Too much trouble. But I looked at him. And he looked at me. And I thought, I know what that feels like. To be overlooked. To be left behind. Just because you're not perfect. So we took him in. Emma cried when we brought him home. Happy tears. She named him Cookie. Now he sleeps at her feet. Wags his tail when I come back from the post office. Rests his head in my lap when I feel like I'm falling apart. He doesn't speak. But he says everything. His love is soft. Unconditional. And exactly what our home was missing. He made us a family. Not just 2, but 3. We're still not rich. We still don't have answers. But now our house has paw prints. Dog hair on the couch. And a little more warmth in the silence. We laugh more. We walk slower. We feel lighter. There's love here. Real love. The kind that limps a little. But stays. And maybe one day, someone else will join us. Not a savior. Not a fixer. Not someone who wants to help me. But someone who sees me. Not just the tired mom. Not just the strong one. Not baggage. Me. All of me. And maybe he'll say, I've been looking for you. Exactly you. Thank you for staying with me through this story. If it moved you, please subscribe. This story isn't completely made up. Some of it is very, very real. And now I want to ask you something. Do you judge me for the thoughts I shared? Do you judge mothers who are doing this alone? Or do you see them the way I hope one day someone will see me?